Tonight on The Edge, a Detroit rapper is going viral for something other than her music.
Fans know her as Dank Damas, and they're fuming after a Lyft driver allegedly denied her a ride because of her size.
That doesn't look good for Lyft. Not at all. It does not look good for Lyft. I'm going to give you the top 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. Okay. Wow, I'm finally on. Whew, it's been a journey trying to get on here. All right, first of all, hello everyone, welcome. All right, I have to go live because there is a trending situation happening right now regarding a young lady out of Detroit that was a Lyft passenger trying to get into a vehicle that she was denied. And what's really interesting is that I just finished up a series on being a professional driver for Lyft and making six figures and basically making over $10,000 in tips. And some of the series covered professionalism, right? So we're going to get into it. I'm going to just go ahead and drop some serious information, some knowledge on what's going on. Let's talk about it. It's a lot. First of all, let me take a deep breath and exhale, because what is happening right now is unacceptable. It's crazy. I know there's two sides. Everybody is weighing in online. They have things to say about it, right? But the lady is basically, she's telling the guy, I can fit in your car, right? But the guy is saying, you won't fit in this vehicle, and refuses the ride and leaves. So that is unacceptable, coming from a professional driver, especially someone who worked with Lyft. That doesn't look good for Lyft. Not at all. It does not look good for Lyft. Lyft will be dealing with they're already in a lot of lawsuit already over some false advertisement type situation. And now they're about to be entrenched in this new lawsuit. But I'm here because I'm a professional, and I'm going to use this opportunity to educate folks who are professional gig ride drivers, Lyft, Uber, whatever type of professional driver you are. I'm going to give you the top 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver, because every time there's a problem, there's a situation in life, we have to find ways to not only learn from it, but also help others avoid those mistakes in the future. All right. So I'm going to go into the top 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. And this is coming from somebody who's been driving for Lyft over 3.5 years off and on. But I've made a lot of money driving with Lyft. It's an awesome platform, especially if there's a high demand in your city. I've driven in several different cities. I've driven in Columbus, Ohio. Go Buckeyes. Yeah, we just won a national championship, so go Buckeyes. I've also driven in Los Angeles, California. That's one of the biggest markets I've driven in. I also driven in DC, metropolitan area, DMV to be exact. I've driven a lot of different places, but what I'm seeing right now, what I'm watching on YouTube and all these other platforms regarding this young lady being discriminated against is unacceptable. It's not okay. And I'm going to talk about it, but I also want to help those who are current Lyft drivers or Uber drivers or any type of professional driver, how to avoid the mistakes, because that's not okay. And if you are a Lyft driver or Uber driver or any type of professional driver out there, and you call yourself a professional, that is unacceptable. And I get it. We all have the right, but at the same time, you don't get to call the shots on if you're not going to allow somebody in your vehicle, especially if you're driving for a platform that says in their policies that there's no form of discriminatory whatsoever. And I know I had my share of a lot of problems driving with Lyft with passengers, but at the same time, you have to be careful as a professional of how to conduct your business and do it in a respectful manner and not offend anyone. All right. So I'm going to go into it. I'm just going to go ahead for any of those Lyft drivers or professional drivers that are listening. I'm going to go and give you some serious jewels that you can take with you and hopefully avoid the reality of becoming one that's going to cause your company a lawsuit. All right. So 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. I'm not going to give you one. I'm going to start with the 10 and then work my way up. All right. So let's go. First and most important, you got to remember professionalism in any business, in any type of business, is at the all-time high. It's number one. You always got to be professional, all right? And you always got to know how to treat people, all right? No matter who you are, even if you think, oh, I'm working for Lyft and I'm not, I'm an independent contractor, you still are a business. You're still an entity. So you are obligated to treating the customers respectfully, whether you like it or not, all right? So let's get into number 10, all right? This is basically what? 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. I'm going to go start with number 10. Let's go. All right. Number 10. You want to make sure, number one, your car is clean, is comfortable, and accessible for everyone. And you hear what I just said. Accessible for everyone. For example, adjust your seats, right, to ensure enough leg room and avoid expressing frustration over size, luggage, or other factors outside of the rider's control. So for my man who I think the way he did it was, pretty tactful. I've seen other situations where people are actually terrible and in uncouth ways in where they deny passengers when they're depending on this ride to get to their destinations and literally are just discriminatory and flat out just refuse to help people. But that is something you want to avoid. Provide equal comfort for all riders, period. All right, let's get into number 9. All right, document interactions, right, if needed. So that situation that happened with that young lady out of Detroit, her name is, what is her name? Dank DeMoss, right? I think she's like a rapper out of Detroit, and she's a plus size lady. However, what has happened to her is unacceptable. Not if you are a Lyft driver and you're supposed to be a professional and you're supposed to be providing service for the public, and you cannot be out there just being discriminatory against people who are trying to use the platform to get to locations, regardless if you like the person or not. It's still a business, all right? So, Dank DeMoss, I'm not sure your real name, but I just want to say to you that person was wrong. They were unprofessional, and I'm sure you're going to win some serious money in that lawsuit. And good luck to you. But that person was wrong. They weren't supposed to do that. All right. All right. So let's continue. Like I said, number 9, documentation. Right. So if something is unusual and it happens during a ride, like that situation, you got to note it in the app. Because I've had several crazy situations happen to me. Like I said, I've driven in several different states in America. California market. I've driven in DC market. I've driven in Maryland's market. I've also driven in Columbus, Ohio market. All right. So I've driven in different, and that's why I made the money I made, because I was a professional and I knew how to treat people. I knew how to, receive the public. You're gonna get all kinds of people. If I tell you the different type of people I've met throughout my Lyft experience and some of the unscrupulous situations I've been in with Lyft, you will it'll be a TV show. It's crazy, but it still doesn't give you the license to be discriminatory towards the public. It just doesn't. All right. And you're supposed to keep record in the app. You can actually say what's the problem, what's going on. You can report whatever situation, right? I don't know if my guy did that. You can't just drive off without addressing the situation right there on the spot. All right. So keeping a professional record can protect you if there is a misunderstanding, right? Because there was a misunderstanding, and you can't just leave without letting the person know adequately why you're not going to accept me in the ride, why you're not going to allow me to to take the ride. And if you feel whatever you think is right is not right, because Lyft policy is you cannot be discriminatory. You just can't. All right. So again, that's why I made the kind of money I made. Like I said, I made over $80,000 driving with Lyft. I made over $10,000 in tips. I'm just that kind of guy. I'm just that kind of driver. People respected my vehicle. At least majority of them, they respected me. And when I drove them to the location, they appreciated me, and they showed me by giving me tips. I made a lot of money, and I actually made way more than $80,000. I just happened to get the remainder after Lyft took their cut. I made over $112,000, and there's no freaking cap. Is real. I've done videos. I literally just finished damn near 10 series video about this topic. So it's just serendipitous that is happening right now, currently. So if you are watching on Facebook, I was trying to get on YouTube. For whatever reason, I couldn't go live. So I said, let me just jump on Facebook and go live to let people know this is real. People are not professional when it comes to Lyft. There's a lot of people out there. But for those who are out there, who are professional, people like me and other people, and do a really awesome, great job, trust me, they are making money, and they are making a lot of money, because I made that money. I made a lot of money driving for Lyft. And if you haven't seen the videos already, you can go to my YouTube page, POM-J Every Day, and I've showed all my W-2s, all my evidence that I made a lot of money. So you can check those videos out. All right. But I'm going to continue because this is unacceptable. All right. That you can't be doing stuff like that. All right. And I get it. I mean, he has some good points, but it still is not part of Lyft policy. You're supposed to accept everyone, regardless of what the situation is, unless they're going to be doing harm to you or themselves. All right. So let's go to number 8. Handling complaints gracefully, right? If a rider raises a concern, right, listen without interrupting or becoming defensive. Apologize if appropriate, and focus on resolving the issue rather than dismissing it, right? The lady said, listen, I can fit in your car. I can fit in your car. My guy says, no, and start giving all these reasons. First of all, a professional doesn't do that. All right. The way I would have handled that situation, the way I've handled those type of situations, because I've had a lot of situations like that guy. I had I would get to the location and people will have, okay, one time I got to a location and it was a motel or a hotel. Some guy, it looks like he was, it was in LA. I had to drive him downtown and take him to a location for him to do his work or whatever. He literally wanted me to, it's like, take his whole apartment. He was going to set up some kind of situation outside, and my car, as big as my car was, I had to like help him maneuver all his things into my car. And as uncomfortable and ridiculously crazy it was, I couldn't refuse him, because what reason outside of me not wanting to help him could I have told him, no, I'm not going to do it? You just can't do that. If you're there, you have to have a legitimate reason to deny the person of why. And it has to be a reason that's beyond your own personal issues. All right. So, like I said, it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. So I'm going to go into number 7. All right. Number 7, avoid canceling rides. And remember, I'm talking about 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. So if you're a gig driver and you are one of those people who like to find ways to discriminate against people out there, you're in the wrong business. Let me say it again. You're in the wrong business. Find another gig, find another work. Go do DoorDash or Instacart or all the other gigs out there that you don't deal with human beings and deal with people. It's not the job for you, okay? If you're driving Lyft and helping people, driving Uber and getting people to destination, these people are depending on you. They need your help. They are not there just to be there, all right? A lot of people find Lyft and Uber and all these other ride services to be helpful because at one point all we had was taxi. If anybody remember back in the day, the taxis were very discriminatory. If anybody remember when we were in those days when there were no rideshare, nobody had no access to any other way of getting around besides taxis. Taxi drivers were one of the most discriminatory people out there, and I'm sure they're still discriminatory. That's why the people who came up with Lyft and Uber and all those different ride services came up with an alternative. Like, you shouldn't have to be dealing with, number one, discrimination. You paying your money, you're supposed to be treated with respect, with dignity. All right. So it's unacceptable. It's very unacceptable. So that's what we're talking about here. How to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. All right. If you call yourself a gig driver and you drive for Lyft or Uber and you try to make money, you're not going to make money like that. That's not how you be a professional. All right. So let's continue. Avoid counseling rides without valid reasons. Like I said, my guy, he tells her, no, I can't accept you. For what? What's your real reason? Okay. She's weighed extra little pounds or more pounds or whatever you want to call it. Even if the case is she's big or too big, you cannot deny her without giving her the opportunity to get in the car, see what's going on, and, you know, and then see what happens. But if she get in the car and it becomes a problem, then you can say, listen, man, you're in the car and it's really, really difficult because of A, B, C, and D, and I'm sorry, but I have to deny your ride. That's understandable. But before she gets in the car and you denying her, you can't do that. I get it. Trust me. I've had people come in my car and I had to get my seats fixed twice. And fortunately I had warranty. So the type of amount of money that I would have incurred to fix my car seat, that because it's like you hit the little button, it goes up and it rolls back. If I didn't have the insurance or the warranty, I would have had to come out of pocket a lot of money. And passengers did it twice to me. And another thing passengers do a lot, they slam the door. They do that. They slam the door. That's another story. That's another video. But it's what they do. But at the end of the day, you're a professional. You got to know how to handle it. So you cannot cancel the ride without valid reasons. All right. So canceling rides after seeing the passenger's profile or parents could be perceived as bias. And there's a lot of riders out there who are biased. All right. And also, riders and also drivers. Drivers are biased. Riders can be biased as well. But as a driver, you cannot be biased. You just can't, unless you have a valid reason, like they said. Only cancel if there is a genuine issue, like safety concerns, like I'm talking about, or operational problems. Okay, the guy say, hey, if you get in my vehicle, you're gonna lower or drop my car, or my tire's gonna bust. You really don't know that, right? It's not like this person is heavier than a tank or elephant or whatever. Yeah, they heavy, but you don't know that. They say they've driven in a car before, and they've driven in several cars that are smaller than yours. You can't call that. Okay, if you want to call that, let them get in your car, help them get in your car. After they get in your car, if there's a problem, then you say, hey, listen, we can't go anywhere because unfortunately you're weighing the car down. And that's understandable. Lyft can't get mad at you for that because you do occur a lot of heavy maintenance costs. So until that's the problem, you cannot cancel the ride without valid reasons. All right. So that's number 7. Let's go to number 6. Familiarize yourself with accessibility laws. All right. So you need to understand your responsibility as a driver, such as accommodating service animals or passengers with disabilities. Familiarity with these laws can prevent accidental discrimination. And that's what's happening right now. This is an accidental discrimination. And that young lady she's going to be making some money. She's going to get some money. All right. Dank DeMoss she's going to get paid. She is going to get paid. And why? Because this individual decides to do what? They decide to be a discriminatory person, and that doesn't fly at all. Not with Lyft. Lyft does not accept that. All right. I've had situations where I had people with dogs in my car. And my car is a luxury car, but I had to deal with the furs or whatever the dog has or whatever. Fortunately, the dog was just a, you know, well-behaved dogs. I had a lot of people in my car, and they're service animals. You know, some people just carry it because they carry their dogs with them. It's frustrating, but guess what? That's list policy. You have to accept. You got to give service to service animals, to veterans who need their pets, to passengers with disabilities. I have to go pick up the elderly. I have to go pick them up and I have to help them in the car. I have to help them to the door. There's a lot of things that you do as a Lyft driver, and that's probably why I was successful. That's probably why I made $80,000 after Lyft took their cut of my $112,000 I made, right? And I made over $10,000 in tips because I did separate myself from the rest. I'm not like the everyday driver. I saw it as a profession. I saw it as a business. So I didn't treat my customers like they were invaluable. I didn't treat them like they were just some type of, you know, just treat them terribly. I didn't do that because I treat them like human beings. And a lot of these people are not, a lot of these Lyft drivers, unfortunately, should not be out there driving and doing that job because they just don't know anything about customer service. They just don't. But they're out there. So many of them. All right. So they got to familiarize themselves with the laws. And if they don't, that's the case. That lady, she's going to make some money. And I wish her all the luck because she's going to get paid. I don't know how much, but she's going to get paid a nice amount. All right. Let's go to number 5. Accommodate reasonable requests. All right. If a rider's asks for adjustments like turning down the music, and I talked about this in my previous videos. If you haven't seen any of my videos regarding making 6-figure income driving as a Lyft driver or making $10,000 in tips driving as a Lyft driver, a gig driver, check those videos out. You can go to POM-J Everyday YouTube channel, and I got a series. I have a playlist of all those videos that actually educate people on how to become a 6-figure earner driving for Lyft. All right. But accommodate reasonable requests. All right. If a rider asks for adjustments, turning down the music, do it. I had people, if I'm playing my music, they don't want to listen to that music. I'll ask them, do you have a preference? Is something to listen to? If not, I'll put on some mutual jazz and call it a day. You know, if they say, you know, can make some space for them to have accessibilities. I get a lot of people with disabilities in my vehicle, and I have to accommodate them. That's just how the business works. All right. Offering assistance with bags. You don't got to ask me. I just do it automatically. That's just professional drivers who really make that big money, and people doubt they make that money. It's true. They make that money. I'm here to tell you, I made that money. Okay. I made over 112K literally driving for Lyft. You could do it if you're a professional, but if you're not, you're not going to make that kind of money because you lack all the qualities and the traits it takes to be that kind of driver. All right. And you got to help accommodate them without your discriminatory practices. All right. You just can't do that. You can't do that. All right. So number 4, we get in there. Number 4, be mindful of your body language, right? Even if you don't say anything offensive, negative body language, like rolling your eyes, right? Or seeming impatient, you know, twitching your finger or doing whatever it is, making the customer feel uncomfortable, can come across as discriminatory, all right? You got to stay calm. You got to be composed during every interaction. Trust me, I tell you, I can make series on some of the awkward and most ridiculous situations and encounters I've had with customers. Many, but I still did my job. I still held myself as a professional. I'm an entrepreneur. So guess what? This is my business. This is my livelihood. So I'm not going to ruin my opportunity to make my money and feed my family because I want to be discriminatory. It just don't mix. And if you're on that platform and that's not what you're about, trying to help people, because I actually got on the platform to really help people. You know, it just happened to be I'm a good driver and I'm a good human being and I like to help people, that it all mixed and made sense. And it wasn't actually a job for me. It was just a hobby. I just happened to make money at it and I was really great at it. So that's why I made the money I made. And those who are doing it who just to make money, that's why they can't be successful. They will never be successful because you're just trying to make the money, but you're not treating the people with dignity and respect. And nobody going into any business want to be treated inhumanely. You know, they don't want to be treated in such a negative and discriminatory way. You just, it doesn't make sense. I'm paying your money, you treat me like this. I'm taking my money away from you. All right. So no. Number 3, let's go. Maintain a professional tone. All right. Keep interactions focused on the ride. Right. Keep interactions focused on the ride. Avoid making personal comments or jokes that could be misinterpreted. If you're unsure if something might offend the person, it's best to avoid saying nothing at all. My grandmother used to say this to me, and I appreciate her because it helped. Say, if you don't have nothing to say, do not say it at all. If you don't have nothing positive to say, don't say it at all. Sometimes it's good to just shut your mouth, be quiet, do your job, and just drop the person off and go to your next client instead of trying to say or make gestures or act a certain way and behave a certain way that is not okay. It is not acceptable. All right. So maintain a professional tone. All right. Let's go. Number 2. We get in there. All right. So number 2, 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. I'm on number 2 now. We almost had number 1. I know you're wondering like, damn, what is number 1? We are going to get to number 1, but let's finish up with number 2. Number 2, avoid making assumptions. That's a huge one, right? You got people, too many of us in this new age, in this new era, want to assume. Stop assuming, all right? Stop assuming, all right? Don't assume. If you don't know, you ask, and if the person don't give you the answer you want, just leave them alone and go about your business, all right? As a professional, you don't have time. You don't have the luxury of assuming. So stop assuming. Never assume anything about a rider's ability, their gender, their ethnicity, or other personal traits. Let the passengers express their needs or preference if necessary. I had all kinds of situations. I'm telling you. One time I remember it was during Halloween, and everybody was dressed up at all these different people in costumes. I had a person, a lady, a woman come in my car. She was dressed as a man, like a real man, like with mustache and everything. And I really thought it was a real man. So it was like, okay, but I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know because like I said, I didn't want to assume. So I just kept quiet. And she said it. I didn't say it. She said, she's like, I know you wondering. I was like, wondering what? I'm not wondering anything. What do you mean? Am I wondering? She's like, yeah, I'm really a woman, but I'm dressed as a man. You can't tell? I was like, oh, really? No, I can't tell. You telling me? Wow, that's a good costume. Good job. You know, just keep it moving. They don't need your personal opinion. You don't always got to give them a personal opinion. Keep your personal opinion to yourself. All right. If you're trying to make that money, if you're trying to be a professional, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, a businessman, keep your opinion to yourself. Stop assuming. All right. And let's go to number 1. That's what everybody been waiting for. Okay. 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. Number 1, treat every passenger with equal respect. Oh my goodness. In this new age, that's one of the hardest things for people to do. For whatever reason, everybody feel like they can't respect another person, another human being. They got to be disrespectful. They got to be rude for whatever reason, because of their religion, because of their culture, because of their whatever it is, their gender, their ethnicity, whatever it is. People find ways to just be rude and disrespectful and don't want to treat somebody based on their own personal assumption, right? No. Approach every rider with courtesy and respect, regardless of their appearance, their background, or personal circumstance. Start every trip on a neutral, friendly note. Now, my friends, if you are trying to make that kind of money like I made, if you're trying to make 6-figure like I made, $80,000 on my own money after Lyft took out their share, I made 112, to be exact. Lyft took out a very large amount. I made over $7,300 on the app, that was what you call tips, right? Non-Lyft earnings, and then off of the Lyft through Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, and even Cash, I had over like 2,500 in tips just because of all these things that I'm telling people who are serious about being a professional driver, a gig driver, or what have you to do. I know I have the secret. I have the cheat code. I have the black print. Some would say blueprint. I have it, and I've shown it, and I've shown people my W-2s on my videos to show like this is real. If you are really top notch in your approach in customer service, making that kind of money is easy. It's easy. It's not hard. Yes, the work, it's a grind to be out there every day to try to go hustle and make that money. But if you are a real quality human being already, you ain't got to worry about it. You're gonna make that money easily. You're gonna make that money very easy. All right. So for all those Lyft or wannabe Lyft drivers out there, or gig drivers, Uber drivers, what have you, hopefully you're taking notes and you take something from this. Hopefully you are. And if you're not, I feel very bad for you. I feel very sad for you for the future, because you will be one of those people who's going to have some type of discriminatory charges brought against you and the company that you are mistreating people out there, and that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. In my book and any other professional book, it's unacceptable. So that's all I want to say. I want to just give those nuggets, help those people, those drivers out there who are really serious, who really think they can drive, who really think they're good at customer service. I challenge you. Go make that 100K. Go make over $112,000 doing what I've done with all those tips. You can do it if you apply those tips. But if you're not applying those tips, you're not going to do it. You're gonna fall. The first rider you get, you're gonna have a problem, because you don't know how to treat people with respect and dignity. So I hope you listen to all of those tips, how to avoid discriminatory charges, how to avoid discriminatory charges. Let me put my light on because it looks like it's getting dark out here. How to avoid discriminatory charges. If you can follow those 10, I give you 10 ways to avoid discriminatory charges as a gig driver. If you can apply them, you might make $112,000 and over $10,000 in tips alone. And if you don't believe me, and if you think I'm capping, watch my videos on my YouTube channel, POM-J every day, and see the series of those videos and see how I give every single opportunity to people to see my W-2s. They've seen it, they know about it, and I have it to prove to people. So if you are a Lyft driver, if you're not watching what's going on right now with Lyft and that bit of the gig driving, you should be, because you don't want to be that next person that get a lawsuit because you don't know how to treat people, you don't know how to respect people. You think the business is a game. It's a game to be played the right way. It's not a game to be played the wrong way, because if you play the wrong way, you will be that next person getting sued. And I feel bad for you and the company, because they are going to lose a lot of money. So that young lady out there from Detroit, again, I feel bad that what happened. I will tell you this: if you were my passenger, I would treat you with respect. I would treat you with dignity. And plus, I have a car. I even offered my luxury car. The luxury type of car I have is a bigger car, is mid-size, not the biggest. But I offer my car because you have the right on Lyft. You don't have to avail your car, make your car available to everybody. I did, because but why would you do that? If you're a driver, if you want to make money, why would you put your car up there and say, "Oh, I only want to have people who have money to drive in my car"? Like, no, I put my car to be available for everybody. Everybody had access to my car. So even if you got me through the basic rate, that's what I got paid, and it's okay. Why would you go fishing and you put your net out there and say, "I only want to catch catfish, or all my fishermen out there, all the different types of fish that's out in the sea. Why would you just say I want to catch this one type of fish when you know there's so many different types of fish in the sea? You're going to be wasting your time. Just go back home. I made my car available to everybody. It was a luxury vehicle. It's a luxury vehicle, but everybody had an opportunity to ride in my car. I picked up people from the hoods of the hoods, okay? I picked people up in Compton. I picked people up in Watts. I mean, I'm talking about some of the hoods that the everyday people don't go to. I was in there with this nice vehicle, and I didn't care. I wasn't scared because I was there to do a job. Okay, I was in Columbus, Ohio. I went to some of those hoods and picked people up. Okay, I was in D.C. I went to the hoods of hoods to pick people up. I was in Maryland. Maryland got some hoods too. I picked people up in areas that wasn't so friendly, if you will, or wasn't so favorable, but I picked them up. So I gave everybody access to my vehicle. It wasn't just the rich people. And I also picked up very wealthy, rich people. I went in the mountains, the hills in California, and picked up some very wealthy people. Okay? Actors. Like I was just talking about, one of the people I had in the vehicle in one of my videos, if you get a chance to watch it, who was Michael Fanon, the guy that was one of the Capitol Police that was dragged and tased. He was in my vehicle. I had another guy, a big time guy, everybody who back in the day used to watch Boy Meets World. He was in my vehicle. I had a lot of people who are very wealthy, very rich people, celebrity type people in my vehicle. And I had, like I said, when I was in LA, I had the women who worked on the street as, sex workers in my vehicle. Like, they need Lyft too. You can't discriminate against people. I had everybody in my vehicle because my vehicle was up there to make money. I put it up there like, hey, it's available. If you need a ride, you can, I'm going to pick you up, because there are people in difficult situations, man. I don't get how people think it's okay to be discriminatory. There are people in different areas of their communities who have no way to get home. And I help people get home. I help find ways to get them to their location. I had another situation. Listen, for people who live in LA, know that if you're in LA and you're trying to get to San Diego, it's no easy feat. I had a lady last minute who literally, hey, what's going on, De Niro? What's going on? Yes, De Niro. Blessings, peace. Yeah, man. So I had a lot of people that I helped on last minute because I wasn't discriminatory. You know what I mean? I wasn't discriminatory, and it's not okay to be discriminatory. I remember, I'll give you a quick story. I was in LA, and I literally, just when I was doing Lyft, before I did it full time, I got off of work. I was a manager at a store in LA called Every Table, and I just got off my shift, and I said, you know what, because Lyft has a feature on the app where you can do filter rides. So if I'm going back home, I lived in Baldwin Hills at the time. I'm going back home. I want to get back to Baldwin Hills. I put in my address, and they'll pick up people on my way to home. I had a person last second. I picked this person up. I had to go to Beverly Hills. I went to Beverly Hills. Some lady called Lyft, and I don't know what the situation was, but it wasn't looking good. And I ended up getting her. She got in my car, and the next thing I knew, I looked in the app, and it said 2 hours. So I'm looking at her because I worked in Hollywood. The location that I worked for, Every Table, was off of Hollywood, of Santa Monica and La Brea. And I'm just trying to go right down the street, like 10, 15 minutes away. And I had to get rerouted. I went to Beverly Hills, and then this person gets in my car. On my app, it says 2 hours. I'm looking at her like, is this right? Am I tripping? Does this say 2 hours? She said, yeah. And where I picked her up from was a very rich Beverly Hills. If you don't know Beverly Hills, watch some of those Beverly Hills movies. It's a very ritzy place. So I picked her up from this location. She was with whoever the guy was. I don't know if she was a sex worker. I don't know what the situation was, but whatever the case was, she needed to get out of there. And if I had I said no to her, she would have been stranded because I was her only hope. I just happened to be that guy that took her from Beverly Hills to San Diego. If anyone knows that reality is not an easy feat. And it was around 10 o'clock at night. I didn't get back to LA until damn near, until I had to go to work the next, right? I got like 1 hour, 2 hours sleep, and then I got to go right back to work. Just because I got into the business to really help people. If you're getting into the business to help people, it doesn't make sense for you to be discriminatory. It just don't make sense to me. So that guy, he just got Dank DeMoss paid. He got her paid. She should be thanking him for being discriminatory because now she's gonna, who knows how much money she's gonna, who knows how many figures those lawyers are gonna sue that company Lyft for. Because they ain't gonna sue him. He ain't got no money. A lot of people driving Lyft ain't got no money. They just doing it for a side hustle or doing it. Some doing it full time. They ain't got no money. They're just doing it because they need the money. I didn't have no money. I was doing Lyft because I needed some extra money. The other regular jobs that I had was not paying the bills. Take all your hours, take all this, and then telling you what to do, how to do it. But I could just jump on Lyft and ride and just drive. I love driving and get paid. But if you take Lyft seriously, you can make real money, man. I made the real money, man. And if you don't know, and if you want to know, check out POM-J Everyday YouTube channel and watch those videos. If you are really a driver out there, if you really drive and you trying to make a living for your family and your area you're in, it's what? It's high demand. You can make real money. I made over $112,000. No cap, man. Check out my W-2s, man. I made over $10,000 in tips, man. And I have all of the tangibles. I have all of the blueprint for you to make that money. Is real. But you got to be a professional. You got to be an entrepreneur. You cannot be out there just being discriminatory against people. It's just not okay. So I hope those guys that guy learned a lesson. Because I know Lyft is going to learn a lesson because they're going to have to pay. Lyft is going to pay. They're going to pay so much money that when they're done with this case, they're probably going to start firing every person that's trying to get on the app who does not follow their policy. Because on their policy, they state you cannot be discriminatory against anyone. You got to accept the service drivers, service animals. You got to accept the elderly if they need help. You got to get out your car and help them. You got to accept everyone. They don't care what's your personal issue. If you are a religious person, you have a problem with whatever, they don't care. You on the app to make money. I don't get it. How you get on the app as a professional and you want to act like you have a problem with people? Now, don't get me wrong. If you have a problem with somebody because they're trying to pose threat to your life, that's understandable. Lyft is not going to find you for that. Lyft is not going to get mad at you for saying, no, this guy pulled out a gun and was trying to shoot me, so I drove off. This lady was trying to hurt me, so I drove off. They're not going to get mad at you. But if you just flat out saying, no, I ain't going to accept you because your personal issue with them, it's not going to sit well with Lyft, and you are going to get sued. So that is it for now, everyone. It was heavy on my heart. I had to come out here. I had to say something because what's funny is, like I said, I just done a lot of videos. I just done 10 video series on being a driver, and now this happened. So it all happened right on time. So that's all for now. I typically do not come on here live to do anything because I realize Facebook it's not really engaging. People don't engage on Facebook like a lot of other platforms. But I still feel like I had to weigh in on this topic because this topic is a very serious topic. If you want to catch me and catch any of my lives or catch any of my content, you can go to POM-J Everyday on YouTube and you have access to all my information, all my videos and all my content. But otherwise, I'm not on here typically, so you're not going to catch me. So this is a rare time that you catching me. So I just wanted to drop this video and live and let everybody know my thought around that situation because it's a hot topic right now. It's trending like crazy. A lot of people are watching it, and it is what it is. But hey, everyone, my battery is literally dying. I had to come in my car because I was going to get a little. As you can see, I'm a little hot about it. I'm a little loud about it, and I can't do it right there where I'm living because the neighbors and everybody else will have an issue. So I had to, come a little in my car and be a little intimate. So that's it for now. Thank anyone who's been watching, who's care enough for this topic or care enough for this issue. And if you out there, if you've ever been discriminated against, I apologize for you, and I apologize to you, and apologize for the people who've been discriminatory against you. It's not acceptable in this new age. We shouldn't be doing it, and we can't be following DT. We cannot be following DT, and you know who I'm talking about. That person does not represent for a whole of humanity. They represent for something totally different because the way they carry themselves and the way they treat human beings, and I'm sure that's what a lot of people think it's okay because they can do it, everybody else can do it, and it's not okay, and you shouldn't be doing it. Not to advance the human race. If you don't want to advance the human race, you keep being the way you want to be and act the way you want to act, and we'll see how that works out for you. But if you want to continue to do what's good for the human race and treating people with respect and dignity like you want to be treated, keep it up. All right. Thanks, everyone. And hopefully, who knows? We'll see. Maybe I might come out here another time again. But I appreciate you guys. Hey, De Niro, man, it's good to see you pop on here. Hopefully, I'll be coming out to Texas, man. I come out there, and hopefully, we can, I can come and pull up on you or something, man. But anyway, thank you. Thank everybody. I'll see you guys soon. Catch me on my YouTube, POM-J every day. I'm on there, and there's always content on there. I have enough content to keep you up and binge watching forever. All right. It's been great. Just remember, don't be discriminatory. Don't do it. It's not going to help you. Don't do it. If you are doing it, stop doing it. It's not okay. Trust me, you're gonna pay for it eventually. You may think it's okay, but you're gonna pay eventually. All right, everyone. See everyone soon, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on one of my my YouTube channel, and you can catch me live on there or something. All right. Have a great rest of your night, wherever you are, morning, evening, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.